When Northampton legalized adult use recreational marijuana, I didn't think it would be much different. I had very specific concerns about impaired operators over time and also youth use. And those remain my two concerns.
It may be the biggest concern about legalizing marijuana, that kids whose brains are most vulnerable to the impact of cannabis will have an easier time getting it in a town where marijuana is legal. And it's not just the police chief who's worried.
Any community that has had marijuana legalized, it ends up in the hands of youth.
That's why Trish Armstrong, who teaches health at Northampton High School, opposed legalization and still does.
These kids are smart and savvy, and I think they have been following the politics of the town. They're definitely aware that it's legal. They're definitely aware that there's a dispensary in town.
Has it led, in your opinion, to a change in their view of cannabis?
Yeah, there's an uptick.
NETA, or New England Treatment Access, the sole dispensary in Northampton, Massachusetts right now, does what it can to stop youths from buying. They scan IDs at the door and again at the counter.
Hi, I just want to see your ID.
Fakes will not cut it, but the rest is up to adults.
Can I get a pre-roll with the GG number 4?
We are just as rabid as we can be about ensuring that the packaging that we have is child-proof and tamper-proof. So when someone leaves here, it's sometimes hard for adults to open it, let alone children.
But even if they can't buy it at NETA, just having NETA in town may have an impact on how kids view marijuana.
It's dangerous. I think that because it's been legalized, they think it's normal and okay, and I think that is a scary mindset.
The goal is, in adolescence, to learn how to tolerate uncomfortable feelings. If you drift into using a substance rather than sit and tolerate your feelings, you don't learn those things you're supposed to learn in adolescence. You then rely on other things, mood altering generally, to get you through.
Kip Armstrong, who's married to Trish, is convinced that marijuana is in fact a gateway drug. And there's no question that marijuana is a danger to the developing minds and psychologies of kids. But we're still left wondering, are more kids using marijuana because it's legal for adults, or because there's a marijuana dispensary in town where adults can legally purchase it?
What we have seen trend-wise in the immediate, post-legalization is confusing.
Ananda Lennox is the coordinator of the Northampton Prevention Coalition. They work with the Northampton School District to help prevent substance use and abuse by students. Every 2 years, the coalition surveys the 8th, 10th, and 12th grade classes and asks if students have ever used specific kinds of drugs and if they've used any recently. They asked in 2015 and 2017 when only medical marijuana was legal, and they asked again this year. One important disclaimer, the 2019 data is still preliminary.
2017 data showed a majority of seniors were smoking marijuana. Lifetime use was really high and past 30-day use was really high, like over 50%.
That was 2017. The 2019 data from seniors was surprising.
So that dropped down about 10%, 10 points, which is good.
But the trend among 8th graders was far more worrisome.
The rate of 8th graders reporting past 30-day use and lifetime use of marijuana doubled, which is very concerning. And it's still a small percentage, but this is something we haven't seen that drastic of a jump with any other substance.
We should note the surveys are taken by less than 200 students in each class, so a small change can have a big impact. And just a few students who think or report differently than their peers can skew the results. Also, students may be more willing to reveal usage given legalization and the current climate on marijuana. And even though those numbers correlate with legalization, we can't know if the changes are because of legalization.
I think the attitudes play a much bigger part than the legalization, but I think the legalization it's like they all fit into each other, right? The attitudes change, and so the status, if it's legality, changed.
One more note on trends in Northampton. This goes back to the advent of medical marijuana in 2013 and the green medical cards given to patients.
People who had the green card are starting to show up looking for some support and thoughts about how to get off of using. People don't want to stop using marijuana. They want to find a way to keep it in their life but control it.
And he thinks the same might happen with recreational users in the years to come. The other main use and abuse concern is about opioids. Central and western Massachusetts, like so many communities, has been hit hard by the epidemic. It's too soon for any hard data, but there are no reports of opioid use, abuse, or arrest spikes, and there's actually some anecdotal evidence that legal marijuana may be helping.
A member of our community who is in a wheelchair and serves as the chair of our disability commission, and since legalization, he's now been able to move off of opioids for pain and over to marijuana. I've had veterans come up to me and thank me for the position we've taken on marijuana because it's helped them to be able to deal with pain and to be able to deal with chronic issues like PTSD and not be on opioids.
But despite anecdotes like that, or the fact that states, including New York, allow medical marijuana to help combat opioid abuse, our addiction counselor says that's just playing with fire.
I don't think using any drug except for psychiatric drugs is a viable method. You need to stop mood altering. You need to stop mood altering. And using anything to help you get down there is just prolonging the amount of time and risking relapse.